Rest in peace to Michael K. Williams.
Yeah, man,
I've been rewatching The Wire. So,
okay.
On season 2.
It's always a good thing to do. Whenever you have time.
Yep.
People sleep on the on season 2.
That's where I'm at new.
Yeah.
But
once you really get into it, it's actually a solid season.
It's a good one. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like them all for the most part.
Michael K. Williams was good in bad movies. I enjoyed him in RoboCop, the remake they did a few years ago.
I didn't even catch it.
Exactly. There's no. If you have not seen it, there's no reason for you to revisit it or visit it at all. But Michael K. Williams, he did his thing in that movie.
Boardwalk Empire, Chalky White.
He was good. I didn't think that show was great.
I really liked Boardwalk Empire.
But I liked him in it.
Yeah.
And Lovecraft Country.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's like the king of HBO quietly.
Yeah.
So,
well, with that being said, again, rest in peace to him, which was kind of a shock. Akon has made a statement again out to him about Michael K. Williams, which apparently was a good friend of his. And he said that there's too many of us going down like that. And I think when moments like this happen, we got to reflect because we're all going through things in our lives and making decisions that actually affect not only us and our life, but everyone that surrounds us and looks up to us. Now he's also referencing that was, I believe, fentanyl. That's
overdose. The word. I don't want to say that's definitively.
But that's the rumors that have been going around.
Because like it doesn't. While fentanyl is killing a lot of people out here, you can still OD just doing what you do.
True.
Yeah.
True. He went on to say the famous and the rich go through more issues than the poor. You know, when they say more money, more problems, that's a real thing. That's where he's getting backlash, and that's what we're going to talk about.
It's also a first world problem. I mean, we're talking about you want to be butthurt for having money and being able to have access to excess. I mean, am I the only one that sees the problem in that? So
no,
you want somebody to feel sorry for you because you have endless amounts of money in order to splurge and do whatever you want.
And you can't manage it?
And you may not be happy.
I mean, go to a therapist. I'm sure you can afford it.
I mean, listen, there's poor people that have drug problems.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There's poor people who've overdosed and died from fentanyl. I mean, the fentanyl thing is not new. At the end of the day, these drugs are bad. I understand people do what they do. I'm not knocking you for that, but I mean, you being rich and being able to live a lavish life and do extracurricular activities and possibly die from it.
A different type of problem.
That's a different type of problem. That's not an everyday problem that people are going to sympathize with you about.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, I'm like you can have a problem, I can have a problem. You can have a problem, I can have a problem. But your problem isn't more than my problem. You know what I mean? Like your problem isn't more important than my problem. And so just because you have access to money and like you're richer than I am doesn't make your problem a bigger issue to the world. I mean, it's like you choose what you get into. Like if you're rich, like you just have access to the more dangerous, or I'm not even gonna say more dangerous, but just a different type of danger, a different type of like problem that you have or whatever. So poor people die from drugs just like rich people die from drugs or whatever. So like you just have access to a more expensive way to die.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
What do you think?
Look, I've been in a situation where, just to put it gently, where I was financially insecure, and
me too.
I needed to get an alternator for my car, not a fancy car. I just needed an alternator for my car, and because mine had gone out, and that's just how I get back and forth to work, and I think it was going to cost me like $350, parts and labor. That was enough to stress me out and have me thinking about how am I going to do this? I got to rob Peter to pay Paul to get this money to fix my alternator. I've been in that situation, and I know some of you listening have been in that situation as well. It's a lot different than someone who says, oh, there is a back order on the brakes for my Bentley. Yes, that's a problem to you and your world, but chances are that Bentley's not your only car.
It's not affecting your livelihood.
It's not. It's the different. You know, I had a friend of mine who's doing well in his life, and he told me he didn't understand the concept of country clubs until he made a certain amount of money, because when you make a certain amount of money, the only place to kind of complain about certain things in your life is to other people who have enough money to be at a country club.
Right.
Yeah. Like if you're at a country club and you say something about, oh yes, there's a back order on the brakes for Bentleys, they'll be like, oh, I understand. Yes, I'm going through that exact same thing. If you tell someone like me,
first world problems,
that you can't
super first world
get brakes for your Bentley, it's like, yeah, I don't have. I gotta be careful because I don't have proper health insurance.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear about
Bentley
that.
problems.
So when people and the thing is, the access you have, to excess, is completely different, because of course there are poor people that have drug problems, but
some of the biggest hustlers in the world are poor people with drug problems.
Exactly.
They're going to get that high by the end of the day.
But when you're rich, your man might be the drug dealer. He might want to get next to you. He wants to get you the top notch so he can just hang out with you. So even then, it's not the same kind of problem. If you're just a poor drug addict, nobody wants to hang out with you. You're just a poor drug addict. So when
Excuse me.
you say that rich people have, look, it's all about perspective. It really is. But at the same time, I don't want to hear about how hard it is to be rich, especially when I know how hard it is to be poor.
That's a trash perspective, though.
I mean,
It really
I've seen some crackheads that's been alive for a lot of years. Maybe you need to do a different type of drug.
Well, that's the thing. Like when they talk about
Not to make light of it, but I'm just saying.
But this is the thing with this whole fentanyl thing that's happening. Like, dog, you gotta understand, these people are not overdosing; they're being poisoned.
Yeah.
So don't ever I don't put it into the same. Oh, so and so they have fentanyl. Like, no, they're being poisoned.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, there's a long list of people that have died from fentanyl. Prince.
Was that part of his thing?
It was fentanyl in there. I don't. Michael Jackson.
It's propofol. He was doing.
Mac Miller, fentanyl. Who was the comedian that just passed a few weeks ago?
There was a couple of.
Actually, it was like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
Fentanyl. It's like,
once again, these people are being poisoned. When you talk about fentanyl, these are not overdoses. These are people being poisoned to death.
Yeah.
These are people essentially being murdered by the people who are selling them whatever it is that they're selling them.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like there's certain things that stand on their own.
Prince was taking pain pills.
You don't have to if he's getting the good pain pills, he don't need no extras on it.
Yeah.
He's getting he's Prince. He's probably getting the best of the best. You don't need to put no extras on it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, this is just a poor statement that.
Especially now when the eviction moratorium is expired, the people's extra benefits as far as their unemployment, that's expired.
Well,
you're going to talk about how rich people got it hard. We don't want to hear that right now.
It's suggesting this idea that because you're poor, it means that one, you don't go through any issues, or that is equal of value.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it kind of suggests that poor people don't work hard.
It's a narcissistic.
Nobody works
thing
harder
to
than
say.
poor people. That's the thing. A lot of people don't realize. It's like, oh, you should just work harder. Look, there are poor people who be working 70 hours a week and are still poor.
Straight up.
Like nothing is more expensive in the United States of America than being poor.
Yeah.
Facts.
And he acts like he didn't come from a poor.
That's what's crazy.
background.
Like,
it's like you came from.
He's
that.
from Africa, and his statement is very American.
Very American.
Especially the part of Africa he's from.
Yeah, well, he says a
didn't come
lot of
from a rich
unnecessary.
family. His dad didn't have a bunch of money. You know what I'm saying? It's like you were just there a few years ago.
He was in the worst parts of St. Louis at one point, then the worst parts of New Jersey, and he gonna talk about it's so hard being rich in America. Man, you need to sit down and chill.
Boo-hoo. I tell you what, share with the new old head some of that money. Let us do a trial of how hard it is to be rich and we'll get back to you with
I
our
bet
research.
you he won't. Like, no rich person will trade places with somebody.
If you've enjoyed this segment of the New Old Heads podcast, make sure you join our live show every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/newoldheads. You can also catch playback of all of our shows on any podcast app and youtube.com/newoldheadsnetwork. And go to newoldheads.com/community to join our Discord.